Morning, babe. How'd you sleep?
Morning. Oh, terrible. Elon Musk kept me awake all bloody night.
Well, hi guys, welcome back to the channel. You've got me today, not Phil. And Elon Musk, if you're watching, you've got a lot to answer for. So if you've been watching the channel, you'll know that we've spent the last 6 years tootling around Europe, trying to find data wherever we go. Sometimes we're lucky, we can get free Wi-Fi, but most of the time it means buying a local SIM, buying a really expensive eSIM, using a little cloud device of some description to get data. We use quite a lot of data because of the work that we do, uploading videos and so on, and we do like to watch a little bit of television as well. So data is really critical for us in our day-to-day life. When we were building this truck, we knew that we wanted to put Starlink in. It was always just something that we wanted to have, and sadly, we bought the system, and 2 months after we bought it, because we needed to run the cables, so we had to buy it a lot earlier than we wanted to start using it, they announced that the 2-month rule for roaming was coming in. So once again, we were back in the same position that we were in with our UK SIM cards, which was so frustrating. But we still think it's worth it for us because of the way we travel, and actually we don't know anybody yet that's been cut off, so fingers crossed we'll be okay. So Phil will tell you that I can talk forever about batteries and technology and SIM cards and things like that. I'm not a particularly techie person, but I do find it quite interesting, and I like to find out about things I don't know about. So one of my missions when we decided to get Starlink was to work out how we could convert it to 12 volt, because we wanted to be able to turn our inverter off overnight. In our last truck, the inverter was in the boot and it had a switch on it, and you had to crawl into the boot to turn it off, so obviously it never got turned off. And we knew that the inverter consumed power in and of itself overnight. And when you've got a small battery bank, or you're in a spell of bad weather and you need all those little bits of power, something like converting a Starlink from 230 to 12 volt can make all the difference to how long you can last without sunshine, basically, when you're running a solar system. It might not be a lot, but it could be important in those situations. So we knew we wanted to convert it to 12 volt. The inverter is also under our bed in this truck, and it's a massive 5,000 watt beast, and it does hum, and so we didn't want that noise overnight. So those were the reasons that we decided to go down that route. So I went off and did some research. I watched lots of YouTube videos and went on loads of different forums. So thank you to all the really super helpful people out there. And we decided on a way forward of how we would make that work. So I'm going to talk through how we actually converted the Starlink now, and you'll notice I'm looking down because I have got some notes here because there's quite a lot to remember, and I want to make sure that I impart all of my massive knowledge to you. She said facetiously. So in this cupboard up here is where we routed the cable to. It comes all the way through into this corner, and it goes into that little grey box that's called a Power over Ethernet injector. They're readily available on Amazon. We'll put the links below for you. They will be affiliate links. And they cost about £60 or £70. They're not particularly expensive. Because the Starlink Gen 3, which is what we fitted, mimics an RJ45 cable, you don't have to cut the end of the cable off like you used to have to fit an end onto it that would be compatible with a system like this. So that makes the whole process a lot easier. If somebody had said to me, cut the end off a 150 quid Starlink cable, I don't think I'd have been very keen to do that, but to be able to plug it directly in is really helpful. And then coming out of the back of that is a LAN port, which then connects into whatever router you decide to use. So to use 12 volt, you do need to bypass the Starlink router because it wouldn't be compatible. And as we found out, you need to bypass that before you disconnect that system to connect it to this system. So any router will work as long as it can be connected to 12 volt, because obviously you have to have power to the router while your inverter is turned off. This is a travel router. It's a GLI net. SFT 1200 Opal it's called, and we liked it because it's got a USB power input, so that makes it quite easy to convert to 12 volt using the small box that you see, which is a DC to DC converter with a USB connector. So that whole system now up there is running from 12 volt, and it works absolutely flawlessly. It took about half an hour once we bypassed the router for the whole thing to set itself up, for this router to recognise the Starlink. We had to fiddle around a bit with the WAN and LAN cables, but we got it to work. It's quick. I would say that this router is faster than the Starlink native router. It's lightweight. It sits up there quite nicely. And, you know, it just does what it's supposed to do. But there is a flaw. A massive flaw. Which we discovered on our first night when the Starlink, the humming of the dish on the roof right next to our open roof light kept us awake all night. It doesn't hum continuously, it cuts in and cuts out, but on a very regular basis, so you know it's coming. And we woke up the next morning, well, we didn't even wake up, we hardly had any sleep. It was actually quite intrusive, thinking, okay, maybe 12 volt isn't the way to go. So we're just debating now whether to go back to regular 230. We did bring the Starlink router away with us just in case something went wrong with this system. We like to have options. We didn't want to be stuck. And I feel so frustrated that all my efforts, all my research have led to us being in this position. So we just wanted to share, because I haven't seen anybody else talking about this on any of the videos that I've watched or any of the forums that I've been in, about the fact that the dish makes a noise. And now I've looked it up, it does make a noise, and it's normal for it to make a noise, but I didn't know that. And so I did all that work and all for nothing. Luckily it wasn't massively expensive, maybe 115 quid, something like that for the whole lot. So we're not hugely out of pocket, but yeah, I feel really frustrated by it. So if you've got any questions about what we did, let us know. We will put the links in the description for all the parts that we bought. Because I think, you know, maybe if we'd have put the dish at the front of the truck, it wouldn't have been a problem, but we decided to site it right next to the roof light, which was a fatal error. Anyway, if you've enjoyed the video, without Phil, please give me a like and a subscribe, and let's see if I can get more engagement than he can. Bye guys, see you next time. So, you'll be pleased to know that this is the final addendum to my Starlink 12 volt video. Elon, you have redeemed yourself, I'm pleased to say. I had read about this sleep schedule that you could set up for Starlink, but everything I had read said you could only set it up when you're using Starlink's own router. Of course, we're using a 12 volt router. I didn't think it would work, but I thought, well, I'm going to give it a try because the app is always updating itself. So if you go into your Starlink app and you click on settings and then you click on sleep schedule, you can set it up. And mine told me that it didn't want to set it up, but I persevered. I clicked the enable button, and now we have a sleep schedule that's working every night from 11 until 7:15 in the morning. So we're actually able to sleep. The Starlink is brilliant. It just turns itself on at 7:15 in the morning. We don't have to do anything. By the time we wake up and we're ready to look at the news, it's working perfectly, just like the whole Gen 3 system does. So, Elon, you're off the hook.